Tribes, We Need You to Lead Us, by Seth Godin. Introduction. Imagine for a moment the Pentagon, the very heart of the American military. A place of immense hierarchy, tradition, and rules. It's an organization so famously rigid that the phrase turning the Pentagon is shorthand for doing the impossible. Now, picture a man inside this fortress of tradition. He's not a general. He doesn't have a corner office or a legion of staff. He's a researcher. His name is Thomas Barnett. And he has an idea. A big one. An idea about how the military should see the world after 9/11. He doesn't have authority. He can't give orders. So, what does he do? He creates a presentation. But not just any presentation. It's a 3-hour epic, more like performance art than a military briefing. He starts sharing it. He talks to anyone who will listen. He connects with the people who are passionate about the same questions he is. He finds the others who believe, as he does, that things need to change. Slowly, something remarkable happens. His idea starts to spread. It ignites a conversation. It connects people. And soon, this researcher with no official power, no rank to speak of, becomes, in the words of the Wall Street Journal, a key figure in reshaping the future of the modern military. He didn't manage his way to influence. He led. Today, we're going to talk about the book that explains this phenomenon. It's a book that argues that the power to do what Thomas Barnett did is now in your hands. We're exploring Tribes, We Need You to Lead Us by the brilliant Seth Godin. This isn't just a book, it's a manifesto for a new era. An era where the old rules of power and success no longer apply. Godin argues that for centuries, we've been taught to fit in, to follow instructions, to become obedient cogs in a giant machine he calls the factory. But that world is gone. In its place, a new opportunity has emerged, powered by the internet and our innate human desire to connect. The opportunity is to find your tribe, a group of people connected to an idea, a leader, and each other, and to lead them. My promise to you today is simple. By the end of our time together, you will no longer see leadership as a title reserved for CEOs and presidents. You will see it for what it truly is, a choice. A choice to challenge the way things are, to connect people, and to make a change you believe in. And you'll understand that not only can you make this choice, but that the world is desperately waiting for you to do it. So, let's begin. Book summary. For the better part of a century, the path to a good life seemed clear. You went to a good school, you got a good job at a good company, and you worked your way up the ladder. The company was a factory, not necessarily one with smokestacks, but a system designed for efficiency. Your job was to follow the manual, do what your boss told you, and not make waves. In return, you got stability and a paycheck. This factory model was built on a simple idea: management. Management is the art of manipulating resources to get a known job done. Think of a fast food franchise. The manager isn't there to reinvent the hamburger, they're there to make sure the burgers are made the same way, every time, as cheaply and quickly as possible. Management is about maintaining the status quo. And for a long time, this worked. Stability was the goal. Change was the enemy because change introduced risk. But then, something shifted. Actually, 3 things shifted all at once. First, the people doing the work started to realize that spending 40 years just following orders wasn't as fulfilling as it was cracked up to be. We began to crave work that mattered, work we could believe in. Second, the organizations themselves discovered that the factory model wasn't as profitable anymore. In a world of global competition, you could always find someone cheaper to run your factory. Efficiency alone was no longer a winning strategy. And third, the customers changed. We stopped wanting average stuff for average people. We started craving things that were new, interesting, and remarkable. We wanted stories, fashion, and things that resonated with our beliefs. In the middle of this perfect storm, the internet arrived. And it didn't just accelerate the change, it completely rewrote the rules of connection. Suddenly, geography was eliminated. A group of people who loved a specific kind of music, or a particular programming language, or a shared political cause could find each other instantly from all corners of the globe. This is the world of the tribe. So what, exactly, is a tribe? Seth Godin gives us a beautifully simple definition. A tribe is a group of people connected to one another, connected to a leader, and connected to an idea. That's it. For millions of years, this is how humans have organized. We are wired to belong. All a group needs to become a tribe are two things: a shared interest and a way to communicate. Think about the Grateful Dead. Here was a band that had only one top 40 album in their entire decades-long career. By the old factory rules of the music business, they should have been a footnote. But they weren't. They were a cultural phenomenon that grossed over $100 million. Why? Because they didn't sell records. They led a tribe. They understood something profound about human nature. They knew we don't just want to consume something, we want to belong to something. They created concerts that weren't just about listening to music, but about experiencing it together. They encouraged fans to tape their shows and trade the recordings, which was heresy in the music industry. But in doing so, they gave the tribe a way to communicate, to share, and to connect. When one deadhead says to another, February 14, 1970, it's a secret code, a shared memory that reinforces their identity within the tribe. They weren't just fans, they were insiders. This is the crucial difference. The old model was about marketing to a crowd. A crowd is just a bunch of disconnected people. Smart organizations don't market to crowds anymore. They connect and lead tribes. And here's the most important part: you can't have a tribe without a leader. And you can't be a leader without a tribe. The two are inseparable. This brings us to the core message of the book. The world is now filled with countless tribes, both large and small, all yearning for connection and leadership. And the tools to connect and lead them, blogs, social networks, email, meetups, are now in everyone's hands. The only thing missing is you. Your choice. Your passion. Your vision. But this is where most of us hesitate. We've been trained our whole lives to think that leadership is a position. It's the CEO, the king, the person in charge. We think we need permission. We think we need authority. And this, Godin argues, is the great misunderstanding of our time. Leadership is not management. Managers have employees. Leaders have followers. Managers work to minimize risk and maintain stability. Leaders create change they believe in. Management uses the authority of the factory. Do this, or you're fired. Leadership uses passion and ideas. Let's go here, together, because it matters. Think back to Thomas Barnett at the Pentagon. He had no authority. What he had was a powerful idea and the passion to connect the tribe of people who were ready to hear it. Authority is not a prerequisite for leadership. In fact, sometimes it just gets in the way. Let me tell you another story. When Seth Godin was just 24 years old, he was working at a small software company. He was tasked with creating a new line of video games, but he had a huge problem. No one was assigned to work for him. The company's 40 programmers were all busy on other projects. He was given just 3. He needed more, a lot more, to meet his deadline. What did he do? He could have complained to his boss. He could have managed his 3 programmers and failed. Instead, he started a newsletter. Twice a week, he wrote about the quest his tiny team was on. He celebrated their breakthroughs. He talked about the new ground they were breaking. He made photocopies and put one in every single employee's mailbox. He was telling a story. He was connecting the few people on his team not just to his vision, but to each other. He was building a tribe, right inside the company. Within a month, 6 more engineers had defected to his project, working in their spare time. Soon, it was 20. Before long, every programmer in the company was either assigned to his project or moonlighting on it. They shipped 5 hit products and saved the company. Did they switch because of a newsletter? Of course not. They switched for the journey. They wanted to be part of something that mattered. The 24-year-old with no staff and no authority didn't manage them. He led them. This is the opportunity that exists everywhere, in every organization. The opportunity to lead from where you are. So, if there are tribes everywhere, and the tools are available, and you don't need permission, why isn't everyone leading? Why do we hesitate? The answer is one simple, powerful, and ancient emotion. We have great ideas all the time. The world is not suffering from a shortage of good ideas. What's missing is the will to make them happen. And that will is suppressed by fear. But it's a specific kind of fear. We often say we have a fear of failure, but Godin argues that this is overrated, especially inside an organization. If you launch a new product and it fails, the company absorbs the financial cost. You probably won't get fired. What we are truly afraid of isn't failure. It's blame. It's criticism. Deep down, we are terrified that someone will point at our work and say, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." We're worried someone will ask, "Who's responsible for this?" We're afraid of looking foolish. And this fear is so powerful that we choose not to be remarkable. We choose to be boring, because boring is safe. Boring doesn't get criticized. This leads to a fascinating paradox. The marketplace today rewards things that are remarkable. Ideas that spread, win. And boring ideas don't spread. So, in our attempt to avoid the criticism that comes from being remarkable, we guarantee our own irrelevance. We defend mediocrity, and defending mediocrity is exhausting. So, how do we overcome this fear? Godin suggests it's not about making the fear go away. It's about realizing 2 things. First, you have to honestly assess the risk. Before you hold back on your next great idea, ask yourself this question: if I get criticized for this, will I suffer any measurable impact? Will I lose my job, lose important friendships, or get hit with a softball bat? Most of the time, the answer is no. The only real consequence is that you'll feel bad for a little while. And you have to weigh that bad feeling against the enormous benefits of doing something exciting, fun, and profitable. Feeling bad wears off. Being remarkable lasts. The second, and more powerful step is to reframe criticism entirely. If you create something that no one criticizes, it means no one noticed. It means you were boring. Criticism isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that you did something worth talking about. It's a badge of honor. In fact, Godin flips the script entirely. Once you decide to be remarkable, the question to ask isn't, "How do I avoid criticism?" The question becomes, "How can I create something that critics will criticize?" This shift in mindset requires something deeper than just courage. It requires faith. And here, Godin makes a fascinating and vital distinction between faith and religion. Faith is the belief in a better future, the conviction that your efforts will pay off, the resilience to push through uncertainty. Faith is what allows a leader to act like a heretic. A heretic is someone who challenges the status quo, who dares to see things differently. Religion, on the other hand, is the set of rules, protocols, and rituals designed to support the status quo. Every organization has a religion. It's the way we do things around here. The IBM of the 1960s had a religion of blue suits and overhead projectors. The country club down the street has a religion of membership rules and traditions. The music industry had a religion built around selling plastic discs for a huge profit margin. Religion at its best can support and amplify our faith. But at its worst, it becomes a cage. It reinforces the status quo at the expense of our faith in a better way. The leaders at Woolworth's department store stuck so rigidly to their religion, the rules that had once made them great, that they failed to see the world had changed, and the company vanished. Great leaders are heretics. They challenge the religion, but they do it from a place of deep faith. They have faith in their tribe, faith in their vision, and faith that change is not only possible, but necessary. When people challenge the religion, it often feels like they're challenging your faith, which is why heretics are met with such resistance. But they are not the same thing. In fact, sometimes you have to switch religions to keep your faith alive. Think of Chris Sharma, the rock climber. For years, the religion of rock climbing was simple. Always keep at least one hand and one foot on the wall. It was safe, it was the rule. But Chris had faith that there was a better way to conquer impossible routes. So he started jumping. He would launch himself through the air, for a terrifying moment connected to nothing, to grab a hold that was previously unreachable. At first, the establishment called it reckless, wrong, heretical. But his faith in this new technique allowed him to do things no one else could. And eventually, the religion of the sport changed to match his faith. That leap, that moment of being connected to nothing, is what leadership feels like. It's a leap of faith. So, how do you actually build and lead a tribe? Godin outlines a few simple, powerful tactics. First, a leader's job is to tighten the tribe. It's tempting to focus only on making the tribe bigger, on getting more members. But a smaller, more connected tribe is far more powerful than a larger, disconnected one. A tribe that communicates quickly and emotionally is a tribe that thrives. Steve Jobs was a master at this. His product announcements became rituals that tightened the tribe of Apple fanatics, giving them a reason to connect and speculate and feel like insiders. How do you tighten a tribe? You give them tools to communicate. With each other, and with you. Godin identifies 4 channels of communication: leader to tribe, tribe to leader, tribe member to tribe member, and tribe member to outsider. A great leader provides the platform for all 4. They create a space where people can talk to each other. Think of the comments section on a blog, a Facebook group, or an in-person meetup. The leader's job is often to start the conversation, and then get out of the way. Second, great leaders are generous. In our celebrity-obsessed world, it's easy to think that leadership is about ego and glory. But true leadership is almost always the opposite. The best leaders set out to give, not to get. They reflect the spotlight onto their tribe. They don't want the attention for themselves, but they use it to unite the tribe and reinforce its purpose. When a leader starts acting like a selfish monarch, taking all the credit and perks, they are no longer leading. They're taking. Finally, a leader gives the tribe a story they can tell themselves. People don't believe what you tell them. They rarely believe what you show them. They often believe what their friends tell them. But they always believe what they tell themselves. Your job as a leader isn't to command and control. It's to create a narrative about the future, about change, and about who we are. This brings us to a phenomenon Godin calls sheepwalking. This is what happens when organizations hire people trained to be obedient, give them brain-dead jobs, and use fear to keep them in line. A sheepwalker is the customer service rep who reads you the company policy over and over but refuses to think about what it means. It's the manager who keeps buying TV ads because that's what the boss expects, even though they know the ads aren't working. They are following the map, even when they can see it leads off a cliff. Sheepwalking is the opposite of leadership. It's the result of a system designed to stamp out heretics and reward compliance. And while it feels safe, it's the riskiest strategy of all in a world that is constantly changing. The alternative is to build an organization filled with leaders. To hire amazing people and give them the freedom to do amazing things. It looks messy. It's not top-down. It feels like chaos. But it's where all the growth and excitement and fun is. Let me end the summary with one of the most powerful stories in the book. It's the story of Nathan Winograd and the no-kill movement. Every year in the United States, about 5 million healthy, adoptable dogs and cats are killed in animal shelters. For decades, the religion of the shelter world was that this was a sad but necessary evil. The tribe in power, including major humane organizations, believed there was simply no alternative. Nathan Winograd couldn't accept that. He had faith in a better way. He took over a shelter in rural New York that was in debt, run down, and staffed by people committed to the old way of doing things. On his very first day, he made a declaration. He refused to kill the healthy animals under his care. He didn't compromise. He drew a line. Within months, half his staff, the ones who couldn't switch from the old religion, had quit. He knew he couldn't do it alone. He knew he needed a tribe. So he went directly to the public. He told them his story. He gave them a new vision to believe in. The response was overwhelming. Donations poured in. Hundreds of volunteers showed up. In an industry where a 20% adoption rate was considered good, his shelter was regularly adopting out more than 85% of its animals. He didn't have a big budget. He didn't have official power over anyone but his small staff. All he had was leadership. He found a tribe of people who were waiting for someone to coalesce them, to give them a story, and to lead them. He changed a horrible century-old tradition not by managing a system, but by igniting a movement. That is the power of a tribe. And that is the power that is now available to each and every one of us. The book ends not with a checklist, but with a question. The barriers have fallen. The tools are here. No one anoints you. No one gives you permission. The only person who can say no is you. So the question is, why not you, and why not now? Commentary. When you step back and look at tribes, what's truly remarkable is how Seth Godin saw the future. He wrote this book in 2008, a time when Facebook was still young and Twitter was just a curiosity. Yet, he perfectly diagnosed the fundamental shift in our culture, the move away from top-down mass-market institutions and toward decentralized, passion-driven communities. The book is more relevant today than it was the day it was published. The most powerful lesson, for me, is the redefinition of leadership itself. We are so conditioned to see leadership as a noun, a position, a title on a business card. Godin insists that leadership is a verb. It's an action. It's a choice you make in a moment, whether you're in a boardroom or a classroom or a family kitchen. It's the choice to see a better way, to connect others to that vision, and to push through the discomfort of change. The distinction between management and leadership is something that should be taught in every school. Management is about keeping the trains running on time. It's essential, but it doesn't create the future. Leadership is about deciding where the tracks should go. It's about taking the tribe somewhere new. And Godin's profound insight is that our world is now starving for leaders, while being overstuffed with managers. So what can you do with this, right now, today? The beauty of Godin's philosophy is that you don't need to wait for some grand moment. You can start small. Here are a few simple ways to apply these ideas. First, identify a tribe you're already a part of, but that lacks connection. It could be the other people on your sports team, the kids in your favorite class, or your colleagues at your part-time job. Your first act of leadership can be as simple as starting a conversation. Create a group chat. Organize a weekly lunch. Just create a space for people to connect with each other. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to create the platform. Second, practice being a heretic in a low-stakes environment. Find one small, unspoken rule, the religion, that everyone follows but no one questions. Maybe it's the inefficient way reports are filed at work or the seating chart in a club that no longer makes sense. Ask why, out loud. Suggest a better way. It will feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is the feeling of leadership. Getting used to that feeling is the first step toward making a bigger impact. Finally, start a newsletter. I'm serious. It doesn't matter if only 5 people read it. Just like Godin did when he was 24, use it to tell the story of a project you care about. Celebrate the people you're working with. Share your vision for what you're building together. It's a simple, powerful tool for tightening a tribe and turning a group of individuals into a passionate team on a mission. That was our journey through Tribes by Seth Godin. We've explored the big ideas today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary can only take you so far. The real magic of a book like this happens in the quiet moments, when a single story or a simple phrase connects with you in a way you didn't expect. This summary is your map, but the treasure is found on the journey of reading it yourself. If anything we've talked about today has sparked something inside you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning, it's an experience that can genuinely change how you see your own potential to make a difference. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this summary valuable, I'd be so grateful if you would hit that like button and subscribe. It tells me that this work matters, and it ensures you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book. Let's keep growing together.